So moving on to the next chapter. The next chapter is Companies Act. Now we don't have units here in both Companies Act and LLP. So here we had discussed the definition of what is a company. We had discussed the characteristics of a company. This we had done in the form of a difference. Then we had discussed the types of company, which was classified on the basis of first, on the basis of incorporation, we had done statutory company, registered company. Then we had on the basis of liability, which was limited or unlimited, limited by shares, limited by guarantee, or unlimited. Then we had on the basis of number of members, we had private, public, or uh, OPC. Then we had on the basis of size, we had small company. Then we had on the basis of control, we had holding, subsidiary, and associate. Then on the basis of ownership, when I say it sounds, अरे बस इतना सा ही तो है, it took us literally quite a long time to finish it. Anyway, on the basis of ownership, we have government and foreign. Then we had on the basis of availability of capital, we had listed and unlisted. Then on the basis of profit, on the basis of profit, we had a non-profit company, and we also had others, and these others were dormant, newly, and public financial institution. Then after this we had discussed section 7, which was basically incorporation of a company, and this also includes sections like what is the effect of registration of a company, what is the effect of MOA and AOA. Then we had discussed also what happens if company is incorporated by giving false information. Then we had discussed lifting of corporate wheel, where we had discussed 5 cases where the wheel was lifted. Then we had discussed the MOA and AOA, where we had discussed the 6 clauses of MOA and the entrenchment clause of AOA. From this comes the 3 doctrines of ultra vires. Very important topics in your exam. You cannot forget the cases also here. Then doctrine of constructive notice and doctrine of indoor management. We had also done 4 lochas of doctrine of indoor management. Then the types of shares, what is share and the types of shares, and finally the types of capital. Then moving on to the last chapter. I don't know, for some reason we definitely think of actually skipping this chapter, but I already told you in the class n number of times the reason why you should not skip this chapter. So keep that in mind all the time. So when we had done this, again we don't have any units here, so I'll just stick to 1 2. We had done the definitions like what is a body corporate, what is a small LLP, these definitions we had done. Then we had discussed the partners, who are partners, minimum and maximum number of partners, and what happens if the number of partner is reduced below 2, right? Then we had discussed designated partners. We had discussed the characteristics or the features of LLP, the differences of LLP with company and LLP with partnership. Then we had discussed the advantages of LLP form of business. Then we have the process of incorporation of LLP, which is a kind of a mini version of incorporation of a company. Then we have registered office and changes in the registered office name and changes in the name of an LLP, and how do you reserve the name of an LLP. Then we have the partners and their relations. Here we have, I kind of, you tend to forget sometimes the topics of LLP. We have relation of partners to each other, and then we have how does the partnership interest is like, how is it terminated? That is the cessation of partnership interest, and then we have registration of change in partnership. If there is a this was change of name or address, and if a partner becomes a partner or leaves the firm. Then after this we have extent and limitation of liability. So here we basically covered partner as an agent. Then we had liability of LLP, extent of liability of LLP, and extent of liability of a partner. We had partner by holding out. In case of fraud, we had unlimited liability in case of fraud of an LLP or fraud of a partner. Then the next one, whistle blowing. Then books of accounts. So basically financial disclosures, I should say here. Financial disclosures, which includes books of accounts, statement of solvency, and annual return. Then we had some miscellaneous provisions also, like conversion of LLP to company or vice versa. Special courts also we had, and finally winding up of LLP. So I just gave you a bird's eye view of all the topics. This document, if you want, will be available on my Telegram channel. The link for the same is given. I hope it helps you. Keep studying, stay motivated, happy learning.